Pow wow, yo, yippee yay, guys. This is Pow wow number 11. Today we're going to talk about a bit about some wisdom, about some spirituality and what's happening to society. Then we're going to talk about the world economy. Why has oil been trading negative territory? This is crazy, the biggest shitcoin of all time, right? Then after we're going to talk a bit about the good news, but as well the bad news on crypto. We're going to dive into Libra and then talk about SwissBorg. So without further ado, super excited and super pumped to go to this powwow number 11. With that, let's dig directly into the family picture. It's always super great to be there and have these wonderful pictures. It's really, really cool. And we have great news coming here. There's two beautiful pictures that just have been added to the family picture. It's Matthias and his wife, which is really cool to have both of you guys. Thank you so much for your support, for your love, and all the kind Christmas letters and different things that you have brought. I'm really hoping that you're enjoying the Wealth app. So again, Matthias, thank you so much. It's really cool to have your support and your help, and love the picture. And obviously those sweaters are probably the coolest sweaters in the world. So really, really happy about that, and it suits you perfectly. Inspiration of the week. We're now in the pandemic. It's really interesting to see that people keep on asking, are we going back to normal? But what is normal, right? Was 2 weeks ago or 3 months ago something normal? Is this normal? Obviously. And I think so. What we have to realize is that, and visualize ourselves, is that, are we doing the right things, and are we going with the flow or not? And we as species, we as human beings, we as borgers, I think so. The big idea behind it is really we need to adapt and to adapt for the greater good. And when I see this going on and everything, it's blue and the nature is going crazy, that can only be a great way for me to say, yeah, we're probably doing something right today, right? Which goes with faith and visualizing, the greater good, and understanding, what's your mission and what's your vision. I think so. That's something that is very important, and that's how you really tend to be a very happy and successful person, is following those steps, and which is really going with the flow, being mindful, having some objectivity, right, and some beliefs that goes with it, and making sure the equality of human beings and nature, respecting nature. And I think so. And today was talking about this wonderful book, and I really think that it's a great inspiration. And personally, have I changed dramatically since the beginning of this pandemic? I mean, not so much. I mean, just made this cake, by the way. First cake I ever made in my life. I waited 36 years to make a cake, and is it good? Well, to be honest, no, it's quite awful. But the good thing about this Oreo banana whatever cake is I learned something. And I think so. Every life gives you always different lessons. Some of them, will be very good banana cakes, and some of them won't be good. But always the idea is to bounce from it and really build up, and not just take for granted everything and just say, yeah, that's so easy and I don't have to work on it. Probably my next banana cake will be very good. I'll keep you in the loop for that. Anyways. So now, the joke of the week. This is quite a sad one, which is in the States, but it's still funny though enough, is that a lot of people are talking about haircut. So my hair became super long, didn't go to the hairdresser for a long time, but doesn't really matter, right? And people want to get a massage and all that. I think so. What is very interesting though, which is that in the States, like in many other countries, democracy is taken for granted. And people don't understand that in democracy, which I don't believe these states are the biggest democratic states in the world, not like Switzerland. But I believe in democracy, you still have to, you live essentially with an environment and ecosystem. And if it's believed that it's better to stay confined than go out, and that could save lives, it's hard to say I'm not going to stay confined. Then the great thing in Switzerland, when I'm saying that, is that we are allowed to go outside. So, right? We're wearing masks, we're not going to places where there's a lot of elder people, we're not doing this in a crazy way. We're quite civilized, right? So I think so. There's those two ways, and obviously you get Swiss. It's the pandemic was not very well dealt in the beginning, but now I think it's super well dealt, and I think so. That's a great thing that go and for the Americans who are protesting, it's really their freedom. They want to go back to work, and I could understand that. Not everyone is able to work remote, and it's for them. I do understand what's their feeling behind it. A very funny joke, which is a real product, is super awkward real product. It is this goodbye double chin. So I've been receiving these ads on and on. I don't know why, whenever I'm watching a crypto video. And essentially it's a thing you put in your mouth and you then look at like the guy and you have no more double chin, which I don't see any difference between the left picture and the right picture. Just one picture is like this, right? Another picture is like that. The great thing is that these reviews show that this product sucks, and if you really want a mouthpiece, this is versus $50. Just buy a boxing mouthpiece, if you and just chew it, or just do this. Why I'm saying this is funny as well is that this in the future is going to be harder and harder, because you're going to have probably these reviews will done with a digital ID. And if you gave a 5-star to that shitty product, it stays on your smart ID. You're not going to be like super proud of it on the long run, right? And I think so. This will be a good way to eventually, have a product hunt with real backers, and maybe people really believe in chewing this $50, thing. It's really good. Again, just go like that, or just chew your boxing mouthpiece is $5, and that's it. Pandemic, are we gonna die or not? No, we're not. But so far 2.5 million cases, that's quite big, and those are cases that were actually given by the national health hospitals of most countries. So that's actually quite a big pandemic. 170,000 people died. We're definitely seeing some outbreaks in the States, which is not done as properly. But as I said in the beginning, I think so in the long run, this is going to be, I do understand why we've done this, because it would have been quite a chaos to see all these hospitals full of a lot of people, and it would be really chaotic, and it would be probably a big tragedy. Much more people would have died. But it's not going to kill human civilization. We're not going to be wiped out. It's good measures that I think so we're taking. And hopefully, the economy will be recovering very soon from it. However, I think so we're still looking good, even though if the States is spreading in a more aggressive way, and we still have some exponential rates to it, which is what it is. But no hard feelings from what I think. Negative news of the week. DAO Maker, unfortunately, the foundation is now said that was neglected. What happened, when the bear market hits the fan. We saw essentially a few people not being able to liquidate their Ether on the market. And therefore, that has unfortunately turned out to a court in the States, and that might be a lawsuit of $26 million. Again, what does that show? Well, DeFi, we're still at a very early stage. However, this will grow, and this is growing. DAO Maker is a great project. There's a great team behind it, and I'm sure that sooner or later this will get much better, and hopefully this case of $26 million case will not be accountable for the foundation. On another slightly negative note, our dear Lord, Vitalik Buterin, I think so. A lot of people have been speculating on Ether, and recently we saw that it's overperforming Bitcoin, which is awesome, and a lot of altcoins are overperforming Bitcoin, which is great. Shala Oxen, which is now the the guy behind essentially Cardano, very smart person, extremely great cryptographer and into blockchain scene since ever. I think so that he said something right though, which is with the governance of Ether and Ethereum Alliance and all that behind is that, and that's why I think so. Charles split from Ethereum Foundation when he co-founded it with Vitalik, is that the more difficult part of Vitalik is that this is a massive project that he's behind, and the guy is super young and experienced, obviously, because he never works in research, he's never a CEO, as Charles said, and that is true, and that always says, will this be the greater blockchain in the world? Is this decentralized movement really ready of not having offices but just hanging out a little bit everywhere from the world? Different places from the world. Well, it does work. Maybe it's not the most efficient, and I do back some way that Charles Oxen could be right. Then the funniest I would say of all this is yesterday. We're gonna talk about this right after, but the biggest shitcoin of all time. It's not even any of these shitcoins we had in crypto. Essentially, it's it's oil trades, the futures that were trading negative, and I'll talk about that right after. Now talking about a little bit of the positive news, there's been great things. We see that obviously crypto is going to mass adoption. It is growing slowly, but it's going in a good way. And we see the number of installations of ATMs, mostly in the States, but we have a lot of them here in Europe as well. And that today is roughly 8,000, close to 8,000 ATMs, which is really good. We're seeing very bright sides as well from the FSA, in Japan, that have regulation and framework for STOs, which is great. We have one as well in France and Germany, and then in Switzerland there's as well, and all the offshore different places such as BVI, Cayman are putting in places regulations as well. So this is a great way, obviously, because we believe in asset-backed tokens at SwissBorg, and it's going to be great for fundraising for the future for a lot of different, startups and more scale-ups as well. And that's really good. I think so. In terms of money as well, we've seen like through USDT that it's roughly that's close to 7 billion. That there's new highs. There is money and a lot of interest in crypto. And one of the big ways as we see the mass adoption is obviously with stablecoins. And China's central bank is racing with Libra. We'll just talk about right after. And they want to make it use their crypto Yuan in the 22 Winter Olympics. So that's only 2 years from now. That's going to change a lot. It's going to be a direct competitor, I think so, I presume, to WeChat and Alipay. So see how that goes. But I'm super excited, and let's see if other countries around the world is as bullish on that and crypto. Obviously, this will be a permission blockchain, so private blockchain, where people have to do KYC, and that might as well be something to look forward and to see if it's good or not in the future. On another positive note, there's been Hong Kong that has first approved its crypto fund. This is great. That means institutional investors don't want to get exposure to crypto without getting into the exchanges and all that. Will be able to buy into different funds, and that's a really great way to bring in essentially like family offices, funds of funds and different other institutional players, because obviously they don't want to get into the wallets and all the different issues that could go with buying into crypto. So obviously there's funds a little bit everywhere in the world, even here in Switzerland, in Europe, and the offshore jurisdictions. But we haven't seen so far Hong Kong, and as we know, a lot of crypto, the market is driven from there. That's a great thing. Talking about whales, one of the biggest whales of all time, Flagship Renaissance. These guys probably are the biggest inspiration of all time. If you haven't heard about these guys, it is the best. So if you guys remember, Cryptalian was based on the Medallion Fund. It was the same spirit behind it, is how combining multi-strategies, hedge funds, you could outperform the markets and in any conditions, right? In bullish or bearish markets. These guys have been like the pioneers of quant, and they're now buying and selling futures of Bitcoin. So that is really a good step. Hopefully we'll have more managers that will dive into the rabbit hole with us and bring in more volume, more trading, and mass adoption, which is always. Project of the week, Libra, submitted their second white paper, which is essentially the same as the number one. The main difference is that they're not only going to do their Libra, which is LBR, what's a mixed basket of different currencies, but they're going to do as well pegged currencies like USD, Euro, the GBP as well, and Singaporean dollar. So they're going to extend not only to one mixed basket of Libra, but as well to other pegged national currencies. They are working very hard. I don't believe this is going to happen anytime soon, to be very honest, not because the technology is not ready, because I believe that people never do anything before presidentials. That's a very corporate thing that happens in the States. You never want to go for any big bill before presidential elections, because you don't know what's going to be the second government. And if essentially there's another government that passes and you worked out a huge deal, they're going to break it essentially. So that's what happens in the States. And obviously Libra, even if it's a Swiss association, behind it is it's Facebook. And Mark Zuckerberg will never ever try to advance any political agenda to any US congressman. And I think so this is gonna happen because we have this race against China, but not right now. And there's still a lot of places for stable coins. I totally believe that stable coins is probably one of the most interesting way to get to mass adoption. So far, obviously, they've been USDT, which is good, but has some issues with it. It's not owned by a community. It's not audited by smart contracts, so you can't really see the reserve behind it. It's detained by a small company, and so it doesn't really have that fundamental community approach to it. We have DAI, obviously, which is a great community back, but it's completely DeFi and had some issues recently. So I think so. I seriously believe that, stable coins is one of the main elements that could bring to mass adoption. And please name and comment what are the best ones you think maybe we should bring into the Wealth app. Free oil. So as you guys notice, oil has been essentially going to zero. It's crazy. It's really crazy when you see this thing going like that, but then going down like this. It's crazy, right? Well, the main reason behind it, it's that we haven't been using so much oil recently, right? The commodity itself. And the OPEC and all this mafia behind it, they're still producing a very big amount of oil. And the main reason why they're producing it comes from the fact that they cannot stop. You cannot stop an oil factory. You just have to. These places, they have to essentially produce it. And the futures market is super bearish about it. And what happened last night is that crude oil is, the barrel is essentially traded on different places around the world. And essentially, it's not stocks. These are futures. And what you have to understand in futures is that, for example, here you see it's the month of May. You have a certain delivery. So a month before the end of the contract, the buyer or the seller, if he doesn't sell it back or if he doesn't essentially reshuffle it, then he will have the delivery of the physical barrel at his home or at his office or wherever he's trading. So we had this moment yesterday where people start realizing that they weren't able to essentially sell their positions or close their positions or to roll them in different ways, and people were actually saying, you know what, I don't want this contract. You get it for free. And then the market is like, yeah, I don't want it either, man. And who am I going to sell it? No one's going to. I don't want to store and take all the care of the transport and all that. These are too many costs anyways involved. So, and that's not my business. And first, you probably need a license to store, right, oil, or need at least a lot of security, I presume. So these guys like, I don't want this, I'll give it for free. And the other's like, no, you're not gonna get it for free. I don't want it. So then essentially the sellers were saying, well, I would pay you $10 if you actually, I give you my position for free. And that went to $37 a barrel, which is quite crazy. It's quite sad when you think about it. I just think it's funny. I always say don't fool around with futures if you don't know what it is and if there's physical delivery behind it. Because, receiving at home like lamb chops or barrels of oil is the worst thing ever. I don't even know what you can do with it. And so that's what happened. So worse than, losing your position from whatever 20 or 30 to zero. Here you're actually paying back, a massive premium of $37. It's quite crazy, but it happens. Crypto market, nothing has changed relatively besides the altcoins performing well with ETH because a lot of people are bullish about essentially Ethereum 2.0. Here it's the same resistance, which essentially it's playing off with that 7,500 and that's one of that big resistance. And obviously there's still this support, which is a little bit over 5,500, it's 5,600, something like that. We're still channeling down. It's the same thing, which is it's really hard for us to and the market to understand, where are we going from here and this pandemic, how much it will grow. So there's some good news and bad news from the markets, and we're still playing with those support and resistance. Hopefully we'll have a big move next week as there's a huge amount of USDT waiting for getting into the markets, which that is usually good news. Regarding us at SwissBorg, we're still looking for a marketing manager and a web developer. If you know any of these two, please let us know. We'll be extremely happy to reward you $3,000 into the Wealth app, which is great if we keep this person for the long run. So if you know anyone that's really good, please refer it, send it in the Telegram group, or let the person apply directly and put a note. On another note, which could be a lot of fun, we're doing some donuts internally and we're having some games. So if you guys want to have fun with us, you're more than welcome every Friday at 5 p.m. We'll be doing some poker tournaments. We'll be doing as well some Pictionary, I think so that is, and escape rooms. So if you guys are really interested by joining us, we'll be very happy to do that for sure. So please just let us know if you want to join. With that taken into consideration, as we said, the market, it's not at its best, it's not as at worst either. It's still channeling. I think so it's a good moment as well to be actively trading. Hope you're enjoying the new ways how we could get exposure within the Wealth app. It's really cool. I think so the new features that we've added. I really hope you guys like it. We as well updated a bit our About page, which is really beautiful. See the family and our values. We have a video that's coming out, which is, I think so here. Well, we have the recent video. We do. Is that one? Yeah, we have it. Please check this out. This video is really beautiful. It really explains what we're doing at SwissBorg and our mission and our vision. I think so it's really done. Thierry did a fantastic job as always. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please, again, comments, share, ask any questions. What would be the best stablecoin you guys want to list in the Wealth app? For what reasons? And always, like always, from the bottom of my heart, it's always extremely cool to have you guys. I always love enjoying doing this with you. If there's anything we should add to this, please let us know. And I know a lot of you guys have asked, what is the future of staking? It's the universal revenue. This is really what we want to give, is that, as you guys noticed from the digital ID last week, is that as you combine staking mechanism and as well how you contribute to the network, we will reward you on all the revenues that we're making, and to make sure we're fairly growing the community in the best way. So guys, thank you so much. Take care. Love you.